everybody, and welcome back to my opera channel. This week, I want to talk about 3 categories of books that I managed to read, even though I don't have time. But a large part of being an opera singer is learning a lot of new repertoire, spending a lot of time on your own in a practice room, and then having very long stretches of time where you're not busy, and then like 6 to 8 weeks where you're extremely busy in a way. You know, especially as a student, you have like intensive times, and then you have like, what am I doing with my lifetimes? And they can vary very quickly, and they can come and go with a snap. What I've learned is in those times of being extremely stressed, you need to have a system that keeps you de-stressed and something that you can revert back to, and it's very easy to say, it's my time now, and this is what I'm doing, so that you have enough energy and stamina to get continuing to do the things that you're supposed to be doing at that time and kind of keep yourself steady throughout that entire time. And one of the things that I find disappears the second my life gets busy is reading. And I really enjoy reading, so that's very sad for me. I have brought 3 categories of books that I read week to week that I think are great because they're great not only if you're at home, but also if you're on the road. Yes, and this goes out to all of you also in long distance relationships due to your careers. Or, you know, just if you're in a long distance relationship, this might help. I'm in a long distance relationship, and this is actually something that we really enjoy doing together. Yes. So, but let's start with the first one. On a day-to-day basis, I love to read on the train, but being an opera singer, and especially as a student, your backpack, my rucksack, backpack, whatever you want to call it, has no room in it. And I use an iPad for most of my music scores. I still need to pack enough food for a whole day, some extra scores and extra copies for the pianist or accompanist, whoever I'm working, or my teacher, and also an umbrella because I live in London and it can always just surprisingly rain. And there's just no more room in that bag. And I don't like reading off of my phone, especially on the tube. I find it very uncomfortable. So I invest in these. Now, they look like they're children's books because they're so small, but they're not. They're 1-pound books that are great because they come from like all different authors and poets and philosophers, and you get to learn so much in such a short amount of space. And this is the definition of a pocket book because this fits in my blazer pocket all the time. And I have like all sorts. You can read things like Mozart's letters to his father, and I don't always read the one at the same time. I just usually pick and choose. But I've enjoyed reading a couple of these letters. Then I have ones like Martin Luther King. And there's some of them are speeches, some of them are books, some of them are stories. This I thought was phenomenal. I can't recommend this enough. I can't pronounce her name. But we should all be feminists, and I very much agree. Opera is based on books. And then you also have just like Dante and Oscar Wilde, and these are great because they're small, they fit, and you don't actually have to keep reading them as you go. They're like, some of them are just poems. And I actually had a whole day where I left a book in my blazer pocket the entire day, and just at the end of school I was like, oh, I was singing in a class and someone was like, you have a book in your pocket. Those are one category, and those are great, and they only cost £1, so you don't feel like you're spending a lot of money on books. Another one, and this is for the long distance relationship things, it's very hard to come home from a long day and then find the energy to just talk about your day, especially if it was like a tiring, exhausting, no one wants to talk day. And since in long distance relationships you don't have the like, let's make dinner and sit and watch a movie together, because it just doesn't work like that. Reading books for sure is one of the best things that keeps us, because it gives you something to talk about that's not about your day, and it makes you kind of feel like a normal human being again. 2 books that I can really recommend. We're looking for more of these if you have any suggestions. First one that has nothing to do with anything. Like, these are great because they're not stories, they're not novels, they're just, well, you'll see what they are. They're great because you can just talk a little bit about them and enjoy them. And this one actually happens to be a picture book. Everyone's an Alien When You're an Alien Too by Johnny Sun. If you haven't read this book yet, if you haven't seen this book yet, you are missing out. Get it. And he just recently wrote a new one. He made the pictures, and Lin-Manuel Miranda actually did like little poems about going to sleep, which I really want to get. And it's great. They have just like, especially being dyslexic, this is amazing because everything's written the way I think it should be written, and I love it. And every page is like, just like, I've seen people on Instagram who've like colored it in, which I really want to do, but I think I'll wait for Matt to do that. Like, imagining coloring that in. It's just a great way to look at life. But an alien who comes to Earth and is trying to find a human. It's great. Just links in bio, links on the bottom. And then another one, which we recently are in the middle of, and we both absolutely love it, The Little Book of Sloth Philosophy, How to Live Your Best Sloth Life by Jennifer McCartney. Back to the dyslexia thing. Great reading this book and talking about how it's okay to be on your own pace, and that fast doesn't necessarily mean better, and that you will figure it out. And we've really enjoyed reading this together because we both have felt pretty out of sync with life. And I hope he doesn't mind that I say this. This has definitely put life into perspective. If you have any more suggestions of little books like these that have like pictures and like little quizzes, and yeah, we both basically are very, very sloth-like is what we've learned from this book, and it's great. Now, the last thing that I have, the last category of books are actually travel books, because this has to do with being an opera singer. When you go for auditions or just move to a new place because of school, it's very hard to determine whether or not you have, like, the internet is great until a certain point. Getting yourself out there, especially for me, is very difficult sometimes, kind of like an introvert. I love travel, I love discovering new places, but I have a hard time just going. And especially when it's a short amount of time, you're like, oh, I'm not there for this, I don't have time. And even if you want to do something, you just don't have the energy, and going to a museum isn't always what you want to do. I mean, I love museums, don't get me wrong, but you also just want to experience the place that you are. So basically, I have decided that I'm gonna try and get travel books to different places that I go for a reason, and then, well, I mean, I'll just start with London, basically. But ever since moving to London, it has been a little difficult to just get myself out there and do things, and just I am not very motivated to look online and find new things to do, especially because I've been to London a lot growing up and before I moved here, so I didn't feel like going to a museum or going to Buckingham Palace is something I wanted to do. I wanted to feel London as more of a Londoner, or like see new areas and not just central London, because also that's where my school is. But I got myself 33 Walks in London That You Shouldn't Miss by Nicola Perry. I've set myself a goal to try and complete one a weekend, basically, which gives me 33 weekends, which I'll also get to know London that way. And it's a great way to just do something that's a little off the beaten track, and it kind of takes you away from your life. I also bought Rural London. I can never say that word. Rural London. Discover the City's Countryside by Kate Hedges. And the photography in here is beautiful. It just makes you want to do things. Like, did you know that you could paddle boarding? But I always find that the internet is just a wormhole that you can just keep going down and down and then never do anything. And I can't wait to explore all that stuff. Anyway, what books do you guys read to de-stress when you don't have enough time to read an actual novel like you would want? I feel like this might not have been related to anything else that I made, but I wanted to make it. That's all, folks. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little video. I hope this gave you ideas of how to de-stress. And if any of you in a long distance relationship, what do you guys do? Comment down below. Really interested, because yeah, you know, you miss your person, you want your person. Anyway, have a great week. I will be here next Monday with a new video because I'm trying to get back on track. It's been a little bit of a I will see you all next week in a new video. Don't forget to like, comment, and hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell next to it so you can be notified when I make a new video, which is pretty much every Monday. And in the meantime, have a great week, and don't forget to drink lots and lots of tea and to go see an opera. And when you're there, share with me what you went to see. You know, I'm really loving it. Just send it to me on Instagram, tag me on Instagram, then I can put it in my stories, and it's really fun. Anyway, bye!